Yo, Jamal, what you gonna say?
If I hear one Chiefs fan blame the refs, I'm gonna lose it. Y'all lost this game. They lost this game fair and square. Just gotta deal with it. All right. The Chiefs. Who knows? Maybe this could be a part of the plot. The Chiefs might be back in the Super Bowl next year, man. You never know in this league.
Is there anything better than a trip getting ready?
Nope.
For a long journey where our podcast released a new app and searching for a fade fiending, new fixation. Giving this a subscribe is the same sensation. Started with the day ones, they gave us fuel to support the season. Could have been anywhere in the world, but you're here for a reason. Notification bells, text some friends, all to let you know. Check your Bluetooth, connect, talking wisdom out.
Welcome in, everyone. Season 2, episode 79, Super Bowl Recap Reaction. We got Coach Torrey on with us. What's up, Coach?
Man, how y'all doing? I'm glad to be here. So,
hey, we happy to have you. We happy to have you. It's let me see, you 2 hours behind us over there, right? So it's 7:30 West Coast time on the West Coast.
Yep.
Hey, how'd your West Coast assassin Kendrick Lamar do at that halftime? You happy with that?
It was okay. I wasn't too. It was okay. I'm gonna keep it. I like to be honest. So,
Okay.
So it was mid. It was mid. I'll give it mid at best.
And all the way to my right, we got Jamal J. Longtime subscribers and listeners. They've seen Jamal. Jamal, hey, Super Bowl's over.
What's up?
You
It is.
Did you like what you saw, Jamal?
Of course, I did not. Absolutely.
Well, then we'll get to it. Hey, Jamal, we also got to talk speed because Worthy looked fast. For those who don't know, Jamal January here has a couple championships. He ran track at Abilene Christian in the WAC, so he knows a little something about speed. We're going to come back to that speed. Let's start it off, fellas. I want to just say the first thing they said is, did y'all know that New Orleans gets the most Super Bowls out of any place? I didn't know that. Would y'all have thought that?
Yeah, that would probably have been the last place I would have picked.
I'm just kind of curious if that's like, was that like the oldest dome? Was that the first dome stadium? Is that, I don't know when Minnesota got theirs, but when I think of everyone who had the domes, I'm guessing maybe they were the first one to get it. And they in the South, so people could walk around Bourbon Street and whatnot during this time of year. So
Could also to do with something with the capacity inside it. I don't know exactly what that number is, but I mean, it is called the Superdome for a reason.
Yeah. Okay, that was a little bit of history for me. All right, fellas. Jalen Hurts, his screensaver for the last 2 years was him walking off on his last loss to these Chiefs. They were up, and the Chiefs came from behind to beat them. Yo, coach, what do you tell your players when y'all take a L? Maybe not the L you was expecting, or maybe it was. What do you always tell them to give them that fuel, coach?
Man, just use that as motivation. That's something you can look back to, when things don't, it's a long season. So I'm sure there's long parts of the season where, Jalen or anybody, you go back and look at that, it just gives you extra motivation. So, things like that just gives you, things to keep you going throughout the season. So, I probably would have done the same thing if I was him.
Yo, that is like the perfect story for anybody's redemption story. Jamal, how's that hit you? Hey, there had to have been, maybe there was a cat. I apologize. I don't know all the teams in the WAC, but there had to be some fool that came out there and threw down some amazing time on the hurdles. And you was like, yo, I got to get my get back. Jamal, how's that hit you when you think about that screensaver?
Like Coach said, that is a great tool to use as motivation. As far as myself, I didn't really start seeing success in the hurdles until my 4th year. And then by my 5th year, I got second twice. So my moment kind of came too late, So I walked out the door being a runner-up. But,
yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yo, that's the fuel, though, man. I think you got to use things. See, some people, I was just talking, I just finished coaching Coach, I just finished my youth basketball. It's a 7 and under team. We went 7-1. Had our last game yesterday, sports banquet. And I always like to tell people, you don't always have to hang your head because you take a loss. We got 1 loss on the season. But I said, man, use that as your fuel. And we after that loss, we didn't lose our composure. We just came out and smashed everyone else. We took that anger out on everybody else. So, Coach, what are you of the mindset that it's a jump off point, like it should spring load you, or should and you kind of forget it, or should you remember it to use it as fuel? Do you see the dichotomy there? Which way do you go?
Yeah, so it's always something you got to keep in your back of your mind, but that's something that can't keep you motivated. It's a new season, everything's different, new teams, new everything. So you get a new team, so you always want to keep that in the back of your mind. But it should be something that keeps you, propelled, all the time. So,
Jamal, I know in your sporting career, you did a couple relays, right?
Yeah.
Maybe once or twice on a relay, somebody dropped the baton. Did that ever happen to you? I feel like it happens to every relay team. Did that ever happen to you?
It happened in the finals at conference my last year.
No, brother. Yeah. Yo, how'd you get past that? How'd you and the team get past that?
I was like, man, I can't do nothing about it now. Just got to go focus on my individual win now.
Yo, I like that you said that because that's what it comes down to. It is your fuel, but ain't nothing you can do about that. That's 2 years ago. So it's on to the next. I appreciate that, fellas. Y'all might have helped me out with my coaching too. All right. 3 turnovers by Kansas City. Jamal, when you started seeing the turnovers come against the number 1 defense in the NFL, tell me what your reactions were.
The first pick that he threw to Cooper, I guess he just didn't see Cooper at all. And then literally, as soon as I saw Cooper start taking it back, I was like, oh, he's going to take this to the house. And then I was just thinking in the back of my head, why wasn't Cooper a first rounder, man? Like, why did all of those teams legit pass on Cooper? Like, is it literally because he's a white DB? Like, I literally need to know why did all of these teams pass on Cooper DeJohn? Now, the second one I saw, I was like, okay, this ain't.
That's why.
Yeah.
This all they saw.
Literally,
that's all they saw.
Now, the second pick he threw, I was like, okay, this ain't like Mahomes. This must be his little brother in there playing for him or something. But then they did the replay. His old lineman did bump him a little bit, and that kind of threw off his throwing motion. But that third one on the fumble, he just got rocked. It's literally like, man, I'm be surprised if any QB can keep the rock after that hit.
all right.
But Eagles were on one today, man.
Coach, them turnovers, if you are on the Philly side of that defense, it ain't a shock, right? Coach, when you know that your team is good at something, you ain't shocked. Like, you was like, no, we supposed to be here, right?
Yeah, I think it's kind of different than when you're going against Pat, because you don't see things like that. So, when you're constantly doing that to Pat, getting pressure on him, and I think they said they didn't blitz one time throughout the whole game, so a 4-man front was getting through him throughout the whole game. And, obviously you do that to other teams, but, people doing that to the Chiefs is very, 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 very rare. So I'm sure it was a shock to them that, he threw that many picks. But, like you said, they're doing that throughout the whole season. So you got to give your hats off to the GM. He built that team from, the draft, free agency, and, he did it the right way. So,
I had that further down. Let's get to that right now. Coach, start with you on this. Man, they had so many rookies on that team. Talking about building the team. Yo, Coach, you know about scouting. You could look like we were just brokered the topic about Cooper DeJean and teams sleeping on him. Coach, talk to us about scouting, because you think, oh, this boy is nice in college, but he ain't gonna be about that life in the pros, right? You think that's what good scouting is about, knowing that it'll translate? What say you, Coach?
I think scouting is a big part. I just look at Jalen Carter. I think a few years ago he dropped very, very low, right? And that man looks like one of the best players in the NFL. So Obviously there's some off the field stuff, but as a player, I mean, I don't think there's nobody in that class who's producing as much as him. So scout is a big part. Man, whoever the Eagles guys are, they got to get paid because they took obviously they took some gambles on some guys, but it paid off, and they had the right mix of veterans and rookies, and those veterans helped those guys, and Maddox got benched for Dijon, and the Maddox got subbed in for a play, had the big bat down, so. It seems like they all get along because if I'm a veteran, I see a rookie sub in, I'm gonna feel some type of way. So it just shows you how long they came, especially Jalen and AJ with the beef they had, and things were going on throughout them. So it was good to see them stay the course, and I'm just happy for Jalen. Everything he's been through from Alabama, Oklahoma to now. So
I was gonna go.
Hold on,
I had this one. Oh yeah. What's up?
So glad he mentioned that thing about Jordan Davis because 3 of those 4 linemen are from Georgia, literally.
Yep.
Jordan Davis, Nolan Smith, and who's the last one? Jalen Walker. All 3 of them were at Georgia at the same time, man. I just don't get it how NFL GMs, when they're looking at the board and they're like, okay, this team has won a national championship. Who was on that squad? That's literally who I'm going to be picking from. So.
Yep. And I think everybody calls Philadelphia the Philadelphia Bulldogs, so because they try to they do it the right way. They win and they do it at a high level. So,
I mean, to your point, Jamal, they went to the SEC and also said, "Oh, Devontae Smith played for Alabama. You might know a little something about big games, and he a bad boy." Jalen Hurts in that draft. We could take that guy and we could do something with him. So to your point, especially if you subscribe, sorry, coach, because we know you out west, but if you subscribe to the SEC, maybe not up to this year, but in previous years has been the best football. Once NIL happened, that might have changed, but in previous years, a lot of people thought the SEC had the best talent and the best teams. So
I still think they still do. I think Ohio State had a good run. So, but all the better players you go look. I think majority of Philly's team is from the SEC. So, Kirby, Nick Saban, they do a great job. So,
yeah, I'm gonna go back to something from the start. It was ugly. Did y'all have that feeling that this is about to be a blowout, or did y'all still have some hope? Because I ain't rooting for either team. What were y'all feeling? Jamal, let's start with you. What was you feeling when it was ugly from the start?
Yep.
So in my fantasy group chat, right, we were all texting each other and everything. And, some of those guys were talking about, here we go. They're already cheating. The refs are going to be on the Chiefs side. After that offensive PI from AJ Brown, that was when they immediately texted. And then on the Eagles got the ball. No, excuse me, the Chiefs got the ball. No, it was the Eagles. The Eagles got the ball, and and then the PI happened, or the illegal hands to the face, whatever they called, and they were like, "Oh, okay." So immediately at that moment, I was like, "Oh, this is gonna just be a defensive game. It's gonna be low scoring. Whoever took the over on all them betting props, they ain't gonna hit at all." But then as we later started to see down the line, that just wasn't the case at all. But to answer your point, I thought it was going to be a defensive game.
Oh,
way off.
Okay. Yo, coach, you know what? I'm gonna answer for you, coach. Tell me if I'm wrong. Man, you're all motivated. You might even called a couple of your players up or somebody. And he was like, "Hey, it ain't never over till it's over." Coaches are gonna go in at halftime and make some adjustments. That's what we do. How'd I do? That's my Coach Stamps impersonation too.
I just think Andy Reid's done it so long, and Pat Mahomes is a great quarterback. So obviously, the game's not over until 0 seconds, and I think they end up scoring 21 points. If they had a few more minutes, you don't know what could happen. So, Philly played a heck of a game, man. They did everything right. Like I said, I haven't seen a defense like that in a while, especially perform like that in the Super Bowl. So hats off to them. And it's weird because the coach, they said that I remember fans wanted the coach fired middle of the year. Like people wanted him fired. So, heck of a turnaround.
Yeah. All right. They could not protect Mahomes. Coach, you just said it. Let's come back and start with you. Patrick Mahomes was not that bad. Let me just give you these stats before you go, Coach. He was 21 of 32, 257 yards, 3 touchdowns, 2 interceptions, got sacked 6 times. Yo, coach, it's hard to have the best quarterback in the universe if he's running for his life. What happened, coach?
I'm gonna say this. He played bad. I mean, a lot of his yards and touchdowns were in garbage minutes. It's just like in football. You're going to sub in your third, fourth string guys, and stats get inflated. So obviously, stats wise, it looks like he did good, but he didn't play well. But nah, man. I think Tom Brady said it. I think in 2000 or 22, I believe, when they played in Tampa Bay, he said their game plan, was just bull rush the O line, and that's how they won. So looks like the Eagles picked up that, but like I said, it's still crazy that they didn't blitz one time throughout the whole game and still got pressure on Mahomes, sack after sack, and it's crazy.
I'm just wondering if they're going back in that locker room after the game. I literally want to know who's pointing fingers at who back in that locker room.
100%.
I know that sometimes the bright lights get to you. Jamal, you was running big time, big boy track. I ran track in college, but I was NAIA, although I beat a Kenyan from University of Miami, though. I want that on my tombstone. Forget all the other stuff I did. Make sure people know about that race. Yeah. But Jamal, sometimes under the bright lights, you get the conference championships. People wilt. Tell me, did or did not, in your eyes, the Eagles, they looked real calm to me, man. Let's start with you, Jamal.
Yeah, they looked real calm. I mean, in my opinion, when you're kicking someone's butt and you know that you are, you can see it on their facial expressions, because every single time that camera was on Travis Kelce's face, he looked defeated. I'm not going to lie. And as a player, if you see someone, you're going to, we got this in the bag, y'all. Just keep doing what we're doing, keep doing our roles. Yeah, they for sure look calm, especially Jalen Hurts too. You always see it on his face. He never looks pissed. He never looks like he's stressing. Like, he's just cool, calm, and collective, man.
Yo, coach, do you want players like that you can't even tell? You got to come up and thump them. You can't even tell that the heart is beating. You don't see no rise of the chest. You want them cool cats like that? In
big games, you got to, man. You don't want your emotions to get too high. If you look at the Chiefs, even though they've been there a lot, it looks like they did a lot of things they normally don't do. Some penalties, offsides, and it just looked like the moment was kind of too big for them.
I know. I agree. I actually thought that was the case of the Washington Commanders, the Cardiac Commanders. Yeah. Even though they played some close games, that was a very big moment, and that's what I thought happened in that game. Okay, so that's what I did there. Fellas,
can we even say like the lights are too bright in this? Because the Chiefs have been there before.
100%. And then that's why it's tough to say.
But Coach, didn't you say earlier though for Jamal? Didn't you say it's a new season? New people. So can I answer you with that, Jamal, about what Coach? Let me just say what Coach said earlier. Yo, it's a new season, and not all them dudes is the dudes from last year. DeAndre Hopkins is new. Xavier Worthy is new, and that's my answer, Jamal.
I mean, I guess you can a little bit. It's just still like crazy because, like Coach said, the Eagles didn't even blitz, man. Like what? The fact that they didn't blitz and they're still getting pressure like that is still crazy to me.
Crazy.
Well, so Jamal, what about this? And y'all, since y'all were big time, are still, Coach, sorry about that, but since y'all have lived the big time life, gentlemen, in the biggest moments though, see, this was a big moment, something the Chiefs have never been into. So it's also easy to get tight in that moment too. Yo, Coach, I know you played college ball too. You seem like a cool customer, but there's got to have been 1 or 2 times you shooting some free throws, and that thing looks a mile away. You've been just a little bit of tight. Do you think that could have been it? Them about to make history as the three-peat?
Yeah, I just think that the history of the three-peat, then I don't think they've ever been down that big of a amount in a game, especially with a team like that, defensively. So I just think they were trying to rush too much, instead of playing their game. So I just think them being down, I think it was 17-0 first quarter. I don't think they've ever been down big, in the Super Bowl like that. So I think from that perspective, they're kind of rushing it and, trying to get back in the game quick. So
Jamal, how many false starts do you get before you get kicked out of a race?
You only get one. They changed that. Yeah, as soon as you hit one, you're out.
Okay, so Jamal, let's say last race you had a false start. You jumped.
Mm-hmm.
This week, you know what happened last week, and you really want this, Jamal. Do you leave late, or do you keep that same edge? Do you feel a little too tight on this race this week?
If it was me, I would definitely would have left a little later than the gun. Just nerves and everything. And it's crazy you mentioned that because I actually had a teammate that false started at least like if somebody was gonna false start into me, it was gonna be him. That's his identity kind of turned into that a little bit.
Yeah. And so he's a D1 runner. He's obviously had some big races in high school that got him to this level during y'all seasons. I don't know what year, how many years he actually ran. So that's what I think. I think, sometimes you tighten up. That moment gets a little to you. You start thinking about that old stuff. You can't let it go. We said earlier, sometimes you got to let them L's go. Yo, easier said than done.
Yeah.
Gentlemen, I got one last thing, and then I want to go over that speed statistic with you, Jamal, and then we'll finish up with y'all's parting shots. Philly was the better team, gentlemen. Anybody that I've talked to has always said, yo, player for player, they got the better team over there. So I thought Kansas City had to play the perfect game to beat that team. We'll start with you, Coach. Philly really was the better team. Is that how you take this?
I think so. Just the pieces they add, Saquon. Obviously they probably got the Chiefs have the best player on the field, Patrick. But outside of that, and Kelsey, of course. Outside of that, I think the Eagles had the best team from top to bottom. And you can add Chris Jones in there, but he got hurt. So the Eagles really did have the best team. Obviously, like I said, the GM did a heck of a job, and they spent some good money to get those guys. So they did a heck of a job.
Jamal,
yeah,
I heard what Coach just said, but if you're a Philly fan, you got attitude with Coach because Coach ain't mentioned AJ Brown. Hey, did Devontae Smith walk out of college with any hardware, Jamal?
He sure did.
Then you got Cooper DeJean, who was no joke. I mean, I know he ain't playing SEC. And Blankenship said, wait, hold on now. There is another white dude that plays defensive back in the NFL and is a starter. I had him on my fantasy team this year. So, Jamal, what say you when I say that they were the better team? Was that where you kind of thought it was?
I mean, I definitely think the Eagles are hey, whether if a fan wants to think the Chiefs are better or not, we saw it today. Like the Eagles are definitely the better team, minus the positions that coach, named and everything. But the thing about me was we've seen the Chiefs play a team that was considered better than them last year. The 49ers. Everyone was like 49ers got pieces everywhere. They're gonna beat the Chiefs and this and that. But Mahomes and the Chiefs still did what they did to get that dub. And I thought it was just gonna be another repeat this year, but nope, not the case.
Here's the last thing. We've talked about speed. Xavier Worthy finished the game with 8 catches, 157 yards. So he averaged 19.6 a catch, 2 touchdowns. His long was 50. Got targeted 8 times, and he caught 8 times. Gentlemen, is this the new Tyreek Hill? Like, did we unlock him and he grows from this moment? Like, we all got to respect him now. I know Rashee Rice could come back. Tell me y'all's take on Xavier Worthy.
I don't think he's the next Tyreek, but he's up there. So crazy. Xavier Worthy went to the same high school I went to. So I've seen him grow, from when he was. So he's from Fresno, California, went to Central High School. So no, he's big time. But he's not the next Tyreek. Tyreek different, man.
Yeah. I agree. I agree with Coach. I don't think he's the next Tyreek. You know, obviously we've seen Xavier Worthy's speed on display, but I think Xavier is still a little bit more of a straight line runner. You know, as far as being quick and getting the like shifty juke moves, he's not quite there yet. But one of those touchdowns was against the Eagles. Like what, third string or second string of DBs towards the end, like Coach said, in garbage minutes. So I mean, even without that, I guess it's still a good game. But nah, man, come on, Tyreek almost a one of a kind deal. In my opinion, I got Zay Flowers is a little more closer to Tyreek than Xavier Worthy. You know, I get it. Xavier Worthy did run that fast 40, but if you look at the styles that they play, I gotta give it to Zay Flowers, just being a little more closer.
Exactly.
Gentlemen, we appreciate you guys joining us today for this recap. Start with you, Coach. Any parting shots? Now that it's over and done with, what you gonna say to your team? What you gonna say to your crew? What you gonna say in the barbershop after this?
Man, Chiefs they gotta go get back. They gotta go get Tyreek Hill. They need help. So to beat the Eagles again, because the Eagles look like they're gonna be back, you're gonna have to go reload. So they have to spend some money. So because the current team they have not gonna beat the Eagles. So they gotta go add some pieces.
I like that.
Yeah.
Yo, Jamal, what you gonna say?
Yeah. If I hear one Chiefs fan blame the refs, I'm gonna lose it. Y'all lost this game. They lost this game fair and square. Just gotta deal with it. All right. The Chiefs. Who knows? Maybe this could be a part of the plot. The Chiefs might be back in the Super Bowl next year, man. You never know in this league.
Yeah.
Even though I don't see it.
But it can happen, right? Yo, thanks again, fellas. Appreciate y'all joining us. Enjoy the rest of the night.
You too. Appreciate you guys.
See ya.
Thank you, Coach.